all right, we just got out of Michael, a movie that tells me Michael Jackson had zero conflict in his career outside of his relationship with his dad, who he just needed to stand up to, and he didn't really even stand up to him, and he liked kids the normal amount.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair. I was here for the vibes and the tunes.
Yes. Now, normally I would not go into production history. Do you know what happened on this movie?
No.
This is supposed to come out like a year and a half ago, so they shot the movie, got all this stuff together, and I guess that movie was going to touch on all the court case stuff, and the movie was going to end with him triumphing in court. Then the Jackson estate said to the studio, oh, by the way, as part of the settlement, you can't show that in a biopic. Apparently no one told the studio, no one told the producers, no one told the director, and Michael Jackson's nephew, who plays him in the movie, didn't say anything. I'm assuming he didn't know, but that's like a very weird thing to skirt over.
That seems like a pretty major detail.
Right, so, and I think that's important because you can tell this in the movie. They keep talking about a part 2, which seems to be the stuff they shot for after that plus whatever happens, although isn't part 2 going to be a little depressing no matter what?
I would assume so. I mean, it's pretty not great from there on.
Yeah, so it ends with the Bad album coming out if you don't know where this goes. Right, normally I wouldn't care about production history, but it just seeps through this movie. They make his dad the villain, which is fine. If you know anything about Michael Jackson outside of the music, you know he had a rough childhood, and that's why he was so eccentric and built Neverland and all of that. And we certainly don't get to that, but they hint at it pretty hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and this is actually the big thing. So I feel like Coleman Domingo maybe took this thinking he could get an Oscar for it. I don't think it works. Partially because I like Coleman Domingo. I think he always plays every role just 10% too big.
I don't know. I don't know that I've seen anything with him in it, but I'll take your word for it.
Euphoria, Sing Sing. He was the lion in, what was that movie called? Wicked, Part 2.
Oh. He was in Euphoria?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't know doing what, but...
Shows how closely I watched it.
Yeah, so he's been around. But, look, Jafar Jackson does a really good job as Michael. I'm not going to act like he doesn't. There's nothing as egregious as the Mike Myers cameo in Bohemian Rhapsody, although I guess he's in this one too, and I just missed it.
I don't know if he was supposed to be the MTV contact.
Oh, you know what? That might have been it.
Which I didn't clock him either until the credits.
Yeah, so if you didn't see Bohemian Rhapsody, his cameo is just saying, Bohemian Rhapsody is the kind of song teenagers won't bang their head to in cars. Ha ha ha. Anyway, back to this movie. I think it is interesting. I almost wish we had focused more on his brothers / his relationship with his head of security, who kind of throughout the movie seems to be his touch point for security, quite literally physical and mental security. This is a good angle. I just wish there was more of it.
I agree. I think we could have touched on that a lot more.
Right, and again, who knows? The brothers, they're all producers on this movie, the ones who are alive anyway, so I'm sure they wanted to come off looking good too.
Probably.
That's the biggest issue. The Jackson estate's super involved in this. They basically sued HBO to remove that 4-hour documentary about everything that happened. So you're not going to get the accurate Michael Jackson story. It's very sanitized. The music is fine, but they don't do a great job shooting the stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I think the thing they could have done the most, honestly, is let's talk more about how he was inspired to write the music, the songs, all of that, because it's sort of there, and that's the most interesting part of the movie.
I agree. Definitely. I would have assumed they would have went more into the whole writing aspect and all of that.
Right, or at least how his love of classic films inspired him. And it's there. I would have loved the Captain EO scene. That's just me. Captain EO was a ride at Disney World that he was the star of.
Gotcha.
You can watch it all on YouTube because they aired it on MTV once. But, look, I don't know. I think at the beginning of the year, everyone thought this was going to make $1 billion. It still might. I was like, it's going to live or die on the reviews. And as of right now, Rotten Tomatoes is a broken metric. But it's 40-something on Rotten Tomatoes for critics and then 97 for audience score. So, who knows? The audience might come out for this.
I think so. I think it's basically just your music scene people that were super into MJ and the Prince scene and all that.
Yeah, and because Michael Jackson was a global superstar, they're going to get probably a lot more international box office than a movie like this might. Sure. But as it stands, again, my biggest problem is it's very sanitized, which would be fine, but then there are scenes that are completely don't think about it, but then the way the scenes are presented, you're like, well, I can't not think about how, look at all these age-appropriate female fans in the audience, and look at how nice he is to the kids in the hospital, and it's guys, I don't care if you don't want to talk about it. I think you should. But if you're not going to talk about it, don't make scenes in the movie that point out that you're not talking about it.
True. I didn't clock the age-appropriate audience until you pointed it out, and then I couldn't unsee it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, if the movie hadn't been produced the way it was, I probably wouldn't even be thinking about it. But I would probably give this a 5. Not as bad as some of the reviews I was reading. Like, it's still competently made. Antoine Fuqua can direct. I just wish there'd been a little more there.
A little more substance. A little less glazing over.
Right. Like, the stuff that's interesting, they glaze over, and the stuff that isn't, they just really focus on. And the biggest problem is, I know his dad was overbearing, but they do basically make him the villain of the piece. And he probably was, but it also feels like, oh, so everything that went wrong was his fault, apparently.
Right. I agree.
So, all right. 5 out of 10. That's Michael. I don't know what other music biopics are coming out, but if you haven't seen it, watch Better Man. The monkey in the movie reminded me to say that. All right.
That one either, but...
All right. See you next time.